The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Hosted by me, Carl B. Phillips, Uncle Carl.
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Get ready for another great conversation on the Carl B. Phillips Show. Welcome to the Carl B. Phillips Show. I am Carl B. Phillips, Uncle Carl. Today's guest is a native of Saginaw, Michigan, currently residing in Detroit, Michigan. She has a master's degree in education administration and a bachelor's in vocal music education. She's a musician, songwriter, and recording artist. Please welcome to the Carl B. Phillips Show, my sister, my friend, Mary Wynn.
Hey. Hey, how are you? Look,
I'm
Minister Carl B. Phillips.
I'm doing awesome. So now, as I warned you, you're gonna get a couple of random questions. So this is the first random question.
Oh, off the top. Okay.
Yeah, off the
I'm
top.
ready.
In your spare time, would you rather watch TV, listen to music, or read a book?
Okay, so I can quickly read a book off the table. I know that's horrible, but I can take that off. Now the TV and the music, they're at a tie because it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I'm trying to just wind down and kind of relax, it'll be watch TV, watch something, like a rom-com or something like that. I love my rom-coms. Something light and just relaxing. But if I'm cleaning up or something like that, I put my music on. Or working out, even though I haven't been doing it like I should, I put my music on. So it just depends on which form of quote unquote relaxation it would be. But I'll say the music and the TV is a tie.
So what's your favorite rom-com?
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, Love and Basketball is one of my favorites. Best Man, even though it wasn't a comedy per se, but it's like a rom-com. Best Man, movies and series. I would say those are my top two. Yeah.
Those are good. Those are pretty cool.
Yes, Black Love. I love Black Love.
Yeah. I think for me, it might be maybe Love Jones.
Oh my God, yes. How could I forget Love Jones? That's classic. Classic all day. Love Jones.
The line, when did you fall in love with hip hop? That way.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That's not Love Jones. That's Sugar. The Brown Sugar.
Brown Sugar. Okay, yeah, Brown Sugar.
That's the one when Sanaa Lathan, when she said, when you fall in love with hip hop. That's a good one too.
The Brown Sugar.
Okay. Man, those are two good ones.
So what kind of music gets you hyped when it's time to clean up the house?
Oh, my fast gospel music.
Okay.
Like, Kirk or Mary. Like, I need that contemporary, brighter day, brighter day, brighter day. I need something like that'll get me going. That's what I listen to, my fast, upbeat songs.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
Yes.
Lovely day. Yeah, I can
yes.
see that. All right, let's talk a little bit about Mary Wynn. Growing up, what were some of your favorite things to do on a Saturday morning when you were living in Saginaw?
Okay, Carl, we're still on the random questions, or is this?
This is a part of the interview.
I'm just messing with you. Wow. Okay, you're trying to take me all the way back. On a Saturday, typically, with my mom, I had old school parents. So with my mom, you're getting up, making sure your room is clean, whatever you have to do, your household chores. Then after that, I might hang with mom, maybe go shopping a little bit, because we love to do that. Let's call that retail therapy. A little retail therapy on a Saturday, getting ready for church on Sunday. But to relax, probably back to what you said, watch a TV, or I may have had to practice, which wasn't relaxation, but I just didn't have a choice. So that Saturdays, I would probably practice. Yep. Quick little story. When I said my parents were old school, when I first began playing the piano, it was because I wanted to. I asked my mom, my neighbor had a piano, and I was like, oh, Mom, I like the piano, I want to learn how to play piano. So my mom, she signed me up for piano lessons, and I had a knack for it. So it was something that, turned out to be one of my gifts. And then I became a teenager, 13, thought I knew everything, wanted to be with my friends. So I told Mom, I said, Mom, I don't think I want to do piano anymore. I'm kind of over it now. And I was in for a very rude awakening. She said, oh no. She said, this time that we have invested in you, God has given you this talent, and we don't quit. We don't start something and quit. That's not what we do. And she said, as a matter of fact, go practice right now. You could have bought me for a penny, because I thought, but they were good. I thought I was doing this because I wanted to, but it came to a point to where, when things get more challenging, sometimes we want to move away from it or run away from it. But I learned in that lesson, stick to it to this. Like, you got to stick to it even when it gets difficult. And I'm thankful to God to this very day, because the fact that she didn't let me give up, I was able to go to college on a full scholarship for playing the piano. So that was a blessing that I didn't know was ahead of me. We don't always see what's ahead. Well, we never know what's ahead. So I just thank God for that. At the time, I was upset, didn't want to do it, but I thank God that he let my mom make me continue, because it took me to the next phase of my life.
I'll never forget, I was in Saginaw at a church service, and I looked up in the audience, and I'm like, that woman looked just like Mary Wynn. I text you like, there is this woman in the audience that looked just like you. And you text me back, that's my mom. Y'all are like twins.
That's what they say. Well, it's weird because they'll see me with my mom first and they'll say, you look just like your mom. And then they would meet my dad, and then they'll just take it all the way back. They say, oh, no, you look just like your dad. So I think I kind of have traits of both of them.
I don't know, because when I saw her in that audience, I'm like, that is Mary's, you Mary.
Too funny.
You kind of touched on how your parents kind of focused you back into music. At what point in your life did music change the direction of your life? You talked about it a little bit, but after that conversation, when did you start saying, you know what, I can do this and I can do something with this?
Yes, it was different points, because what I thought I could do with it was one thing at one time, and then it grew into something else. So for example, in high school, which is when I kind of knew, okay, I might have something special or something extra when I was in high school, because I was in a private school, and there weren't many of me there. It's mostly Caucasian. And when I was singing, it was like, I would kind of get the, oh my God, the voice is, all right, oh, okay. Because I was always playing the piano. I didn't sing until high school. That's when I started singing. I didn't really sing before that. I taught parts, but I didn't consider myself a singer. So when I was in high school, that's when I kind of started singing as a soloist. My teacher had me doing solos, and we would go tour, and they'll have a special moment I was doing. So I'm like, oh, okay, all right. And then I started singing more in church, but that's how far I saw it going. Then when I went to college, it afforded me the opportunity to go to college. I'm like, okay. And I went into music teaching, and I thought that was where it was going to take me. And my sound tech at my church, he asked me one day, he said, you ever considered, like singing as an artist, like, doing something as an artist? And I was like, no, I never considered that, because I was really content with where I was, the minister of music at my church. And he just kept saying, I think you should consider it. And it took a few years. It wasn't an immediate thing, because I understood the importance of it. And we're talking about a music ministry, like such as being a songwriter and a quote unquote artist, if you would. I just knew that carried a different weight, or a different responsibility, or a higher level of responsibility. And I finally accepted that was the direction that God went. once I knew in my heart that God wanted me to go that way, then I felt, well, if he wants me to, he'll give me the ability to do it. So it took a couple of years. And then I finally started, like, let me try this. Just started writing. And then that's when you start to see the different pieces of your life. The piano teacher, the college, the working at church, because I had to use all three of those areas of my life to get into this world of music entertainment, if you would. So yeah.
One of the things you kind of touched on in high school was being a person of color and a woman. For a person of color that is a woman that may hear this interview, how were you able to overcome the challenges that you ran into being a woman, being a musician, being a person of color?
That was interesting. And you're one of the first people to ask me that, now that you say that, because I have said before many times, there aren't many female musicians or female pianists, especially in the gospel world. If you think, it's mostly male. And typically it's kind of like, oh, you play? Because I would go and sing somewhere and they would see me come to the keyboard. And it's like, oh, okay, you play. All right. And so I had to learn how to navigate that along with the cultural, racial differences in high school. Actually, it started in middle school because my mom put me in private school from 8th grade and then all of high school. And it was an adjustment because I went from all African-American school then to a mostly Caucasian school. And it was an adjustment socially, academically, and in that creative space, because you're kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? The expectations are not the same for you. And then when you meet or surpass those expectations, you initially get the shock, kind of like, oh. And then you get the questions of, well, what did you do? Or what school did you go to? How did you learn how to play? How did you learn how to read music? Because many of our musicians, they play by ear, which is awesome. Because I wish I had a more advanced level of playing by ear. I play by ear, but only basic chords. I mostly read. I read my music. So I get those types of questions, like I said, because the expectation was different. But you just do you just do what you have been prepared to do. And then when the questions come, you just answer them and just, it's just like more my actions. I just kind of let my actions and my gifts speak for itself. And then if they ask questions, I'll share, but I don't give the information right away. Because a lot of times that mystery is good too. People don't have to know every single thing about you, but I just got a lot of the curiosity, a lot of that. And sometimes it was difficult to deal with because it's like, why is it a shock, that I'm able to do this? So I had to get past that and kind of work through that and say, well, maybe God put you in this place so they can see a difference. Right. Everybody's not the same. Just, we're not a monolith. Everybody's not the same. Everybody has different gifts, talents, abilities, all that good stuff. So it was a challenge initially, but once again, it prepared me for college, because when I went to college, it was a much easier transition for me because I dealt with that from 8th through 12th grade. So it is a challenge.
Speaking of college, you received a full tuition talent scholarship to attend Wayne State University.
Yes.
Talk about
Back
that.
to what I was saying, because I continued with that, and my teacher, Riley Dennett III, I miss him dearly. Rest in peace, Mr. Dennett. But he was really avid about me knowing how to read music. Like every time I would go for my piano lessons, I would have to sight read something just on the spot. He'll put a piece of music in front of me, boom, play it. Put a piece of music in front of me, boom, play it. That benefited me too in college, because in college, at the end of every semester, we would have what's called a jury, where all of our professors would sit in a room and we would have to perform 2 songs for them, one in a foreign language and then one, in the English language. And they would have to have an accompanist, all of the vocalists. Well, that was a nice little gig for me, because the vocalists had to pay. They had to pay the musicians to play for them in the juries. So I would just rack them up. I was racking them up at the end of the semester because I didn't have to take time to learn the song because I could pretty much read it on sight. Or if somebody was playing for somebody else and for whatever reason they weren't able to show, I was the one, Mary, can you play for me? My pianist can't come, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, oh, I got you. So it's like, my whole point in saying that is many times in life, we have to do things that at that moment just bugs us or it feels like a burden. And that can turn out to be the one unique thing about you that makes you stand out from the crowd. So don't begrudge those things. Just kind of look at it as, well, you know what? This is for a purpose. God is allowing this to happen in my life for a purpose. I don't know what it is yet, but he will reveal it to me in time.
Wow.
So yeah, that's in college. That full tuition scholarship, I had to go in and audition, play the songs, and they gave me something to sight read. So the whole scenario prepared me for that. I was blessed with a full talent scholarship because my parents were like middle class. So they made too much money per se to get a grant, but didn't make enough money to pay for college. As we know how expensive was, way more expensive now, but it's always to pay for college back then. So that scholarship was a godsend.
Wow.
Yeah.
So after you graduated from Wayne, you also went back and got your master's in education administration. Talk about your career in education.
Okay, so with my bachelor's degree in vocal music, I started teaching vocal music, which I love. I love, I love, I love. With all the changes, I still love it. If I could just teach my classes, I would probably teach forever. It's all the stuff around it that gets to you. But I decided to go back for my master's in administration in case, later in life, I wanted to go into administration, like a principal, assistant principal, or something like department head. But the more I got into the program, I knew that wasn't something that I wanted to do. I just prefer being in the class with my kids. And then it also gives me the more time and freedom to do my music, my church ministry, and all of that. So it was something that I wanted as a backup, but I realized that route wasn't for me. It wasn't for me.
So what is it that you do now in the public school system?
I teach vocal music, middle school, 6th through 8th grade. Yes, Lord, I do. It'll be 30 years in 2026. I have been teaching for 30 years, 2026, and I will be retiring June 26th. I want to go out while I still love it. I don't want to be that burnt out teacher that you look at and say they should have left 10 years ago. No. And I'm gonna go out with a bang. So y'all get ready, because June 2026, instead of a retirement dinner, I want to do a retirement concert. I'm gonna invite all of my former students to come and sing with me. We're gonna do a whole segment with just me and my students. And then of course I'll do my music, but that's gonna be the highlight of that. I'm really looking forward to that, which a lot of my kids still keep in contact with me. I have students like that are ranging in age from their 40s on down to like 10 years old. It ranges like that because when I first started teaching, I was taught in high school. So it was only like a 6-year difference between me and the high school students. And I loved high school. I did. I taught in Detroit, but I ended up going to Southfield to teach, and they didn't have any high school positions open. So I took the middle school position, and now I prefer middle school.
So you remind me of one of my favorite movies, Mr. Holland's Opus.
Oh, wow.
So you're going to have a Mrs. Wynn Opus when you retire.
Oh, come on. And it's crazy because a lot of my kids contact me on Facebook, Instagram, all of that. And I told them, and they were like, Miss Wynn, we're ready. Like, why we got to wait till 26? So, yeah, I'm excited. I'm curious to see, like, how many are actually going to show. because that's really going to tell me something. And I'm not saying because somebody doesn't come, it doesn't mean they don't care, but it'll just show you. Like, I don't want to wait until, I'm gone and I can't enjoy that time or to see that, oh, I made a difference in their life, just a small part of their life. And I'm doing it more so for that than for me retiring. I just want to see all of them together because it's nothing like hearing young people's voices. There's like a joy and a sound that they have.
Well,
And
with
I
30
know
years,
somebody else.
their voices may have matured a little bit.
Very true. Some of them are artists, phenomenal artists. So yes, like I said, it ranges from 10 years old until mid 40s.
Wow. All right,
Yeah.
time for another random question.
Uh-oh.
What are your favorite pizza toppings?
Oh, okay, that's easy. My husband makes pizza, and I'm trying to convince him to start his own pizza business because everybody who has the pizza is like, when are you making another one? So he makes the ground beef, but see, his is better than at the restaurants. He seasons the onions, the green peppers, and cooks it in with the ground beef, so it's not raw.
Mm-hmm.
So I like the ground beef, and I like pepperoni. And yes, it's meat. I know it's not good, but the bacon, ground beef, pepperoni, bacon, and then I do my the green pepper and onion that's grilled in with the ground beef, and that's my favorite. Oh,
Okay.
mushrooms! Don't forget the
Mushrooms.
mushrooms.
Yeah,
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm not a mushroom fan. No,
Oh, yeah. Well, see, grilled. Don't eat. They have to be grilled too. Try them grilled
when I was in elementary
or
school,
sautéed.
when I was in elementary school, my science teacher told me that mushrooms could kill you. And I have never ate a mushroom. He was talking about wild mushrooms.
Right, that would deter me if that's my first introduction to it. But
I
I'm
have,
telling you, it's good.
even
Especially
though
those portobello mushrooms.
my ex-wife told me that I ate mushrooms and I didn't realize it because she was cooking with them.
I'm telling you, they're good. It just gives a little texture.
No, I'm good. I'm good on that.
Now you a foodie now. I know you eat mushrooms.
I will go someplace like if I'm doing a beef stroganoff and they have mushrooms, I will sit there and really pick the mushrooms out of the beef stroganoff.
Too
Yeah,
funny.
yeah.
All right.
All right, let's talk a little bit about music. You and
Yes,
I
sir.
we met each other being a part of the Rena Clark Cole Singers and Musicians Conference Choir. Talk
Yes.
about the experience of being a part of Dr. Cole's choir and a part of her conference.
Wow. I wish to this day that we all could get back together like for a concert. It was one of the best and most unique experiences I've had. And the reason I say that is because typically at church, you have about maybe 4 or 5 or your 6 strong singers. And then everybody else, you just pray that they can catch that note, that they can catch it and hold it. But you got your anchors in each section. Well, the Dorinda Clark Cole Choir was the first time I had an opportunity where you had those best singers from all the different churches in the community together. So it was like, when we're learning songs, you can take it to another level because you're not spending all the time on, no, it's this note. You know what I mean? Because
Right.
we're going to get that note. So now it's all about nuance and then how we're going to sing that note, how we're going to execute. So I just love that so much. The camaraderie. That's what I loved the most. And then meeting people like you that I have seen over the years or kept in contact with, or even if I don't see them or talk to them every day, when you do see them, it's like, hey, like, how you doing? It's just like, I just loved being around people of like minds and gifts and talents. It was phenomenal.
You also won an award during the conference, one of the conferences.
Oh yeah, you remember that? She had the what was it called? The Gifted and Talented or something showcase. It was some type of showcase, and the soloist category. I won the award for the soloist category, and I was nervous because the judges with Dr. Brenda Clark Cole, Karen Clark. I mean, you're talking about the best of the best. You're talking about legends. Karen Clark Cole. I think Jay Moss was one of the judges, who's a beast.
Right.
I can't remember who the fourth judge was. So, you have to stand up and sing in front of that caliber of singers. It is something. So the fact that they thought enough to do that and give me that award meant more than any other type of award, because it's coming from people that I've loved and listened to all my life. Yes.
So when you think about your personal career, you launched your recording career in 2004 with the release of Take One Look. How did that project help to introduce Mary Wynn, the artist?
Okay. I'm always transparent in my interviews, Carl. So I'm going to continue to be with this answer. Honestly, I was not prepared.
Okay.
I wish that I would have taken more time to cultivate being able to, for example, singing in your church every Sunday is a totally different thing than going to like the gospel music workshop, singing for radio hosts, or going to another church, because that audience doesn't know you.
Right.
You're trying to, present yourself to them. And I just wish I had more time preparing for those different situations. Yes, I knew the art, I knew about singing, but it's just so much more to it. Being able to translate who I am as an artist to those people. I wish I would have had more time to cultivate and develop that before I got out there. But I was with an independent label at that time, and unfortunately, things couldn't go all the way I wanted them to. So it was a learning lesson. I thank God for the opportunity, because I learned about those things, as I was just saying, but I feel like you only get one chance to present yourself the first time. And I just didn't feel like I was able to present my best self at that time. But you grow and learn. You grow and learn. So I am thankful for that.
As you continue to grow, you continue to put on different projects over the past few years. Talk a little bit about how you grew between each project, and after that, we're going to talk about your new project. So from the first project, I think was it like 4 or 5 projects? I can't remember the exact number, but how did you grow with each project that you did?
Oh, wow. So for the first one, as I said, I was with that independent label, Take One Look. Those were the first songs that I ever wrote. So like I said, it was just raw, from songwriting and as an artist, and knowing what to do in the studio. I didn't have as much time in the studio for my first project either. I recorded my entire project in a day and a half.
Oh, wow.
Which is insane. So I was not happy with that, because I knew it was not the best that I could do, because I didn't have the time to do it. So the growth from the first project to the second project, which was called Reflections, and I called it Reflections because reflecting back on that first project, I wanted to take what I learned and apply it in the second one. So the growth in the second one was the songwriting. I developed my skill set with that more, and the time, taking the time to record, but I still hadn't all the way figured out my sound or what I wanted to do on a certain part of a song, which you have your producers for that, but I like to go to the studio prepared. So I was still developing, still figuring it out. That was Reflections. Then the next project was called I'm Ready. So I took time. Every project was like 4 years apart. I didn't want to rush it, number one. And then 2, as an independent artist, it takes longer to get your music out there. So you need time to just get it to folks, because somebody might have heard it this year, but nobody may have heard it 2 years later, so it was 4 years in between, and it gave me time to write because my music is based upon my life. I wanted it to be personal because if it's not genuine to you, then how can you give
Right.
that over to the listener? How can they receive it? So I'm ready. I felt like I was I was I was getting there. I felt like, okay, I kind of have a grip on what I want to do in the studio now. I kind of know how I want to execute. I can go to a different church and not worry about, oh my God, is it gonna do okay? Am I gonna be okay? Are they gonna receive it? I just felt more comfortable in my skin for I'm ready. And then my next project was called More. So, and as you see the theme, the next project was saying, okay, you thought you were ready, but God is asking for more. And for my More project, that whole thing was stunning because as soon as I released that project, I lost my dad.
Oh, wow.
So when my dad passed away, and I was a daddy's girl, I have four brothers. I have four brothers, and I'm the only girl, and I'm the baby. So that hit me hard. So I did not, unfortunately, I did not promote that. I just wasn't in the headspace to do it because life happens. Life was lifing. And
Life will do that to you,
mhm,
where it will happen. But one thing that I learned as a writer, when life happens, it gives you something to write about. And in doing that,
mhm,
what I went through or what you went through, when you write about that, that's what blesses the people. And it
yes.
sounds like what you've gone through has now prepared you for your fifth project, which is All I Do Is Win.
And that's exactly what happened. Now, at that time, when the More Project happened, my creativity was gone. I just wasn't in the headspace. I was stuck. And then when I finally got to the place where, okay, God, I'm finally seeing the light. And it's okay too. Let me say that it's okay to go through those dark periods. And you're going to. Grief is something that we're all going to deal with in life. We all have loved ones, and we're all going to lose people in our lives. And going through grief, that's okay. If you stop and you pause and you take care of yourself and your mental state, because if you're not in a place to give to God's people, that you don't have anything to give them.
Right.
So I went through that and still going through it. Let me say that because it never stops. You just learn how to deal with it better. And when I got to the space where, okay, God, because my mom said exactly what you said. She said, use that pain, put it into your music, your songs, and bless somebody else with it. Because you're not the only one going through this. So that's where one of my songs from this project happened, which was Make It Personal. And it wasn't about my dad per se, it was about your personal walk with Jesus Christ. Because growing up in church, you hear those scriptures over and over, and it's like, yeah, mm-hmm. But then when life happens and you have to draw on it for yourself, lo, I'm with you always, even until like you're not alone, like all of those things, it hits different when you are going through it yourself and you experience it for yourself. You don't need nobody to tell you. Or when you hear them tell you, it's just something in your mind and heart to say, oh, yes, I know, I've been there.
Right.
So that's exactly what this project, All I Do Is Win, is about. Because on the cover, you see the covers of all of my previous projects. And it's about realizing your true self, your authentic self, the self that God has created for you to be or become. So it's not about all I do is win, like I'm all that, not WIN. It's WYN in my name. I can only be myself because there's only one me, it's only one you. So we are all expected to be what God wants us to be. And I'm just praying that if God can allow me to show that through my life and my ministry, then somebody else can say, you know what? Oh, she did it. I can too.
So on the project, you also wrote with your boo. What was that? I'm sorry, with your husband.
Yes, my husband, and he's my boo. That's right. You gotta date your husband. Keep it fresh. Keep it fresh.
What was that
Uh,
experience like writing with your husband?
Wonderful. I have to say that God really blessed me with my husband. He gave me the person that is for me, and hopefully he can say that.
Be better.
But being creative, like I said, okay, let me tie that answer in all in with the answering the rest of it. So when I got to the place where I was ready to write again, COVID hit. So when COVID hit, I was like, okay, God, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? I'm starting to write. And so my husband and I were, well, I feel a sneeze. Excuse me. My husband and I were stuck in the house like everybody was. And we hadn't been home that much ever before. So that creativity was kicking in. And so he was started giving me his ideas and like, well, babe, what about this? Or this concept or this line in the song. I'm like, I'm gonna have to put you down as a songwriter, sir, because you know how sometimes you get stuck. It's really nice to collaborate because
Right.
sometimes you get stuck and it's like, okay, where can I go with this? Or what melody or what lyric? What's the best lyric here? No, that one don't. No. That's not getting the point across. So it was just great to be able to collaborate and bounce ideas off of one another. So yes.
Ooh, look at that smile talking about Jermaine. Ah, she done got giddy.
Yes. After 22 years, he still makes me blush.
Ooh.
Yes. Wait a minute. Wait, is it 23? Okay, wait. Yeah, because we married in 2001. It'll be 23 years in July.
Wow.
Yeah.
And she's
Yep.
still smiling.
And it'll be longer than that we've been together because we met in college. He was my college sweetheart.
Oh, look at that. We can't talk about your music without talking about Ernest J. Lee.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Ernest J. Lee. Okay, so let me go back, tie all this in together. So my first project, when I was with that independent label, and I realized I got to go at this thing on my own. That's when I was in the Dorinda Clark Cole Choir.
Mhm.
I met Ernest before that through my college friend because my college friend used to go to the same church as Ernest. So I had met him years ago, but it was just kind of like in passing. Like, this my friend. Okay, oh, he the musician at your church. Oh, awesome. So when I saw him again in the Dorinda Clark choir, I was like, oh yeah, okay. And then I found out he produced, and I was like, okay, I'm working on my second because it was my second project at that time. I said, I'm working on my second project. I wanted to know if you would produce my project. Of course, he was gay, and we have been musical partners ever since. Yes, so we're at the point now. He's like my brother. I love that he writes songs for me as well. So on my projects, usually he'll write half of the project and I'll write the other half. On my new one, that's All I Do Is Win, I wrote most of the songs this time. So like I said, I think because I had so much time when we were all shut down, it just started flowing. And that time in between the last project and this one, when I was just shut down creatively, I think it just all came out. So I wrote most of the songs on this project. But yes, that's my partner in crime. It's funny because which is good because we're both passionate about the music. Because I might have this fixed idea in my mind of what I wanted it to sound like.
Mhm.
And then he comes in with his creativity, his ideas. It's like, no, Mary, you got to hear, just trust me. Just trust me, Mary, you got to wait till I do this and do that. And then after he'll put it together, I'm like, okay. All right, yeah, I guess you are right. I guess you know what you're doing. But no, he pushes me, challenges me, in the studio, If I go in there, if I'm thinking I'm doing this line, he's like, oh, you trying to sing you cute. I don't believe nothing you saying, so he trying to challenge me. I'm like, oh, okay.
I
So
got you.
yes, yeah. So he knows how to get me going, but that's my guy. That's my guy.
One of the singles from the project is called You're Not Alone.
Yes.
What is the story behind that song?
So as I was saying, it was coming from, actually one of the darkest times of my life. Dealing with the grief of lost my dad. You go through all of those first birthdays without them, first Christmas, Thanksgiving, just all of those things where you're just used to that person being there.
Right.
And like I said, one of the things that I learned was you're not the only person going through this. Draw from those who have been through it, and then take what you have experienced, put that together, and then share that with God's people because they need it too. And you're not alone. It's just reminding you when you're in those darkest times in your life that He is with you always. He promised us that. And he will not go back on His word. And, it's like a lot of times, especially in church, sometimes we over spiritualize stuff. Like, when God said, and, all of those things. But when you are going through and you don't have anybody else there, you don't have the clapping of the hands, you don't have the musicians, you don't have somebody egging you on, you have to draw from what has been instilled into your heart and your spirit. And I just wanted to let everybody know that you are not alone, no matter what you're going through. It doesn't have to be the death of something. Right? It could be loss of a job. It could be a divorce. It could be a loss of a friend, as far as that friendship being over, or whatever it is. We're all going to go through those different things in life. And a lot of times just knowing that somebody else went through it and they overcame it, that encourages you to let you know, okay, so if they did, I can too. So that's what You're Not Alone is about.
Wow. So how can people get your music? How can they contact you? And how can they follow you on social media?
Yes. Okay, so I do have a website, and I know they say that, people don't really do that anymore, but I do. MaryWynn.com, MaryWynn.com. And then the links to all of my social media outlets are there, but I'm on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, even though I joined TikTok late. I was late comer to TikTok. I admit, guilty. But all of those links are there. To contact me, you can from there as well with email, or marywynn@gmail.com, or Gospitality Music, GOSPETALITY. So instead of hospitality, Gospitality, but with the E, because gospel is GOSPE. Gospitalitymusic@gmail.com.
I have really enjoyed this conversation with my friend, Mary
Thank
Wynn.
you.
Make sure you get her new project is out now. All I Do
Plan.
Is Win.
Yeah.
All I Do Is Win. Go download it, go stream it, let someone know about it. Go follow Mary on her social media platform. Reach out to her, let her know how the project is blessing you. And as we close, Mary, speak to someone who you kind of touched on a little bit about someone that feels alone. In about a minute, kind of just speaking to that person's life right now.
Oh, wow. I just want to encourage you, as you said, to remind you that no matter what you are going through, that this too shall pass. You can get through it. God is there. Nothing in our life happens that God doesn't already know about. So He will hold you in those darkest hours of your life, and He will get you through it. I'm a witness. Lord Jesus, I am a witness that He can and He will. And it may not be at the time, that you are asking for, because a lot of times we want God to fix it right now, or we want that pain to go away right now. And even if it doesn't, it's okay. It's okay, because you'll still get through it. And then you have that testimony that gives you that power behind your testimony, because when you're speaking from personal experience, people feel that, people are connected to that. They know, as they say, game recognizes game. They know when it's coming from your heart. So even in those darkest times, praise him anyway. Praise him in advance, knowing that God is going to get you through it, and that testimony will be able to help somebody else.
Wow. Thank you so much. Again, guys, thank you for tuning into the Carl B. Phillips Show. And as we close, I like to use my favorite saying: remember to work like you don't need the money, love like you've never been hurt, and dance like no one's watching you. God bless until we have an opportunity to meet again. Go get Mary Wynn's project right now.
Yay!
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Thank you for listening to the Carl B. Phillips Show. For more information, go to carlbphillips.com.
The Carl B. Phillips Show.
Follow Carl B. Phillips on Instagram so we can stay in contact with each other.